fresh.
Perfect, thank you.
Well, I mean, untouched. We welcome our coach, Roberto Martínez, one day before the game against Finland, the last match of our group stage. Questions for Roberto Martínez. We start with Yves Teldeman. Yves.
I watched in the archives the third game of the World Cup 2018. You changed 9 players for the third game against England. Can we expect as many changes now for this game?
Hi, Yves. Well, there are different circumstances and we are in a different position, but it is true that there will be changes because this is our third game in 9 days. So we have to share the minutes. That's one side, but the other side is we need to prepare other players because I would like we did in the World Cup in 2018 after the group phase, that every player had a little bit the experience of the tournament. We saw the valuable contribution that all the players had during the tournament, and it makes a big difference when a player has already made that debut in the competition in order to be themselves. So it's a similar approach. Tomorrow we need to have a well-balanced team. We'll take in consideration the physical state of each player, but there will be changes, but not just changing for the sake of it. It'll be changes for a reason and try to get a balanced team and make sure that everyone is fully fresh for the next game next week.
Yeah, maybe one more question. Can we expect Romelu Lukaku in the starting lineup? Because I guess Romelu wants to be a best scorer of this tournament. So maybe that's a difficult decision for you.
No, it's not difficult because Romelu wants to win every game. He's never been selfishly motivated in football. He did it in the World Cup. That is not the way he plays football. He plays football to help the team and to be part of it. It is true that he's in a great moment of form. Physically, he's recovered fantastically well. So I haven't decided yet, but it's not a decision of like other players that they're not going to play. I don't think Romelu is in that stage just yet. I think it would be real positive for him to carry on playing, and in the same way we need to measure the playing time to make sure that it doesn't get too much playing time either. So it's a balanced decision that we'll make in the morning.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Yves. Now to Finland, Ansi Karlainen, Finnish media.
Good evening, Mr. Martinez.
Good evening.
People in Finland speculate, are you going to put all 3, De Bruyne, Hazard and Witsel, to starting 11 tomorrow? And are you 100% sure about it, or is there going to be any surprises?
No, in this case, I never announced the team publicly before a game, but it is true that these 3 players, they have an individual program, and the idea was for them, after the successful step that he was finishing a game in the Euros, they will be starting tomorrow. Axel Witsel, Kevin De Bruyne and Eden Hazard. For us is very, very important that they can start a game in this tournament, and that was always the work of the 3 players to be fit for this tournament. It shows the commitment that they have towards the team. I've seen similar situations where players, they give up and they don't make it for the tournament. And the case of Axel Witsel, after rupturing his Achilles tendon in January, to be fit and to be able to play, for us, those focus need to see the players in the starting lineup in the last game.
Okay, thank you. Jonas Bernard, Sud Presse.
Good evening, Coach. I know that in your mind this Euro will be long. I guess it's what you expect. Do the player ask you to get some rest in this kind of situation? Is it an obligation for you to force them to sit on the bench?
No, not at all. I think these players, they don't need too much convincing to play for the national team, never mind in a tournament. In a tournament, you can imagine that the spirit is to work in a focused manner and being available for every game. Every player wants to play every minute. Believe me, I never had a situation where a player turns to me and says, well, Coach, can I be rested for this game? That doesn't happen in a tournament football, but that doesn't happen in the Red Devils. It would be very easy in difficult moments during a season, maybe in March, maybe in November, difficult games that we have to travel. We've never had that. We traveled to Kazakhstan and we had the full squad, and I think the commitment of these players is the real strength of the group. So unfortunately, I don't get that sort of situation.
Okay. It's a problem for you, I guess, to make this choice.
No, it's a problem that you want as a coach. The problem is when you got players that they don't want to play or they don't feel fit to play. The problems that you have as a head coach is those that you have to choose, that you have to find a reason why a team is selected. And then from that point, we will make sure that every player after tomorrow, in the best possible way, is as prepared as we can for the round of 16.
Okay. Merci, Jonas. Nico Tange, de Standaard.
Hello, Coach.
Good evening.
Evening. Many players, when they talk at press conference, they say that Jeremy Doku is very impressive in training. When will we see him on the pitch? Will he be in the starting lineup for the game against Finland?
Well, he's done everything to earn a call in the team. It is true that Jeremy has come back in a very good moment of form, and the way that he's working, it doesn't show his age at all. For a boy at 19 years old, in his first tournament, I haven't seen that sort of player. He seems enjoying every second, very mature. He really looks sharp, and he's doing everything to play. I cannot tell you if he's going to play or not because I haven't decided the full starting 11, but the reality is that Jeremy has done everything to start games.
One follow-up question. What do you expect from Finland? Will they play their 4-4-2 as they always do, or could they surprise you as like Denmark did and try to copy the same team as you normally do with three defenders in the back?
Yeah, I think the system is not the area that we need to be focusing. We are used to having to be flexible and having to change. The opposition do the same. I think this team has got a very clear way of playing. They've been playing for the same way for a long time, but the roles in the team are threads that we need to be very aware. The two strikers always playing with a lot of quality in the central areas, but then with the arrival of the wing-backs, this team defends very well organized, and then it can create in a very elaborated and quick way a chance to score. They've had 180 minutes in their first major tournament. They only conceded 1 goal. They scored 2 goals from open play. 1 was disallowed, and they really enjoyed their time in the tournament. So it makes it for a very tricky opponent. But as he always is in these games, it's about what level of performance we can produce. If we can be at our best, we can compete against Finland. If we are not at our best, I think this Euros is showing you that it's not that easy to win games when you're not 100%.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yuri Delecour, Belga. Yuri.
Hey, Coach. Do you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
we can.
Yeah, the Finns say it will be an historic moment for them because they can qualify for the first tournament. Did you expect a particular game because of this aspect of the game?
No, I don't think they will change. I think the reason that they qualified is because they're very clear in their roles. Of course, they are a little bit flexible tactically, but I think the roles in the team, they're very strong, and I think they are very competitive. I expect them to enjoy the opportunity of being able to qualify. I think their participation already has been a success to perform in the way they've done against Denmark and Russia. Probably they created more chances against Russia, and they had a bigger threat in goal against Russia than they did against Denmark. But in both games, they look a very competitive team that they know exactly what they're doing. The coach has been working with this group now for a long time. They were very competitive against Italy. They beat France in a friendly. This team, they know each other and they know the strengths of each other, and that's a great strength to have. And I don't think we'll see anything different or anything that can surprise us. But I think we're going to see a team that they're going to push all the way to qualify to the next round, and it will be a well-deserved achievement.
Okay, Yuri, merci. Ludo van der Wallen.
Roberto, is it your goal that every player who is in the squad will play during this tournament, except perhaps for the goalkeepers, but that every player will play a few minutes?
Yes, I think obviously that's always, as a coach, you want to see that the players earn the right to play in the tournament. Nothing is given. When you are called up for the national team, you need to show that you're ready to help the team. And if you ask me now, after 20 days of working with these players, everyone has earned the right to play in the team. Of course, we're here to try to win games, so sometimes you have to. It depends on the situations of the game, the situation of the opposition, situation of our own injuries. But I would love to see every outfield player to be involved because they deserve it. And even with the goalkeepers, this is a very different situation. I always feel that the goalkeeper shouldn't be rotated just from one game to another. I think the momentum in goal is important. But even then, I think Simon and Matt, the way that they are training and the way they are working, they are affecting the level that the team has. And they deserve to be playing.
Okay. Have you already decided on the goalkeeper?
Well, the idea is not to make changes in the goal, as you know. Thibaut Courtois should start tomorrow.
Okay, Ludo. Christophe Lieberlo, Belang van Limburg. Christophe.
Hi, Roberto. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, okay. Good evening. Hans van Aken, he wasn't on the team squad for the games against Russia and Denmark. Did you speak to him about that? And will he be on the team squad, tomorrow? Don't you know yet at the moment?
No, I think it's been very unfortunate. I spoke with Hans. Obviously, he didn't do anything wrong. Not to be in the 23 is just part of the rules. We got 26 players, and you can only have 23 in the match day. And then it is more about having a specific positions covered. Sometimes you carry some knocks. Sometimes you carry some worries about certain players that they cannot play 90 minutes. And then that is the final decision that you add an extra player on the bench just to cover for that. And Hans has been unfortunate because his position was well covered. And probably that's why he's been out. But I spoke with him and I told him that it was just down to the rules rather than something that he hasn't done, and he will be definitely in the 23 tomorrow.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Joël Domeneghetti, l'équipe. Joël, tu es là? Voilà.
Good evening, Roberto. You're qualified, but would you be disappointed to not finish first of the group?
Sorry, could you repeat the question, Joel?
You're qualified, Roberto. Would you be a little bit disappointed if you're not finished first of the group?
Well, if we don't win because the opposition were better than us and they deserve it, I will accept it. But obviously, you need to ask me that after the performance tomorrow. I will be very disappointed if we don't perform in the level that we need to. Because in a tournament, every game helps you to become better as a group. It could be a relationship, it could be a player, it could be a unit, it could be a moment of the game that we had to do things very, very well. If you win the games, you're growing. And if you lose a game, it's because you haven't been good enough to do that. And then I will be really, really disappointed.
Okay, Joël. Ça va. Christophe Franken.
It was a surprise for you yesterday to see Finland and France in some difficulty because they are the two biggest favorites with Belgium for this Euro. So it's perhaps a good news for Belgium and for you.
No, well, in a way, of course, to see the game, I managed to watch the game, and you could see that the home advantage was playing a big part. I think we had that experience in Denmark. It's almost when you got a full stadium, the momentum, the energy, that makes the home team more ready for the game, and there's no two ways about it. And probably that's something that has always happened before, but in the last 14 months, our players, and there's been no teams that they're playing in front of that sort of crowd. So you could see that France could not get to the momentum and the level that Hungarian players had. But I think it was a really good game of football for both two teams, completely different, and the way that they were playing, the systems. But I think it was a fantastic example of the quality of these Euros. But again, it shows you that in this tournament, having the home factor, having the crowd behind you, could bring big surprises during knockout phases.
Okay. Last question is for Bart Laga.
Roberto, could you tell us a little bit more about the nature of the injury of Torgan Hazard? We know it's the ligaments of the knee, but how seriously is he injured? How long will he be out for? And what does this mean for the positions where he could play in your team? What can the consequences be for your team selection?
I think the consequences are that Torgan will miss tomorrow's game. I don't expect to go any further than that. I think Torgan should be back with a group probably on Thursday. It will be maybe Tuesday and Wednesday to do a little bit of individual work, and then on Thursday to be back with a group. That's where we are now. It was a knock in the game that probably twisted slightly his medial ligament in his knee. It's nothing serious, nothing of concern, but I think probably the game arrived 24 hours too early for him, and that, I feel that that's going to be as far as it goes.
Thank you.
Okay.
And good luck.
Thanks all.
Thank you.
Thanks, coach.
Thank you,
see you tomorrow.
Thank you,
Stefan.
Stefan. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye. Thanks, guys. See you.